Yes, sir. Look at it. Now vibe. I'm finna turn y'all on to my creative process a little bit. I'll be like, 10 check, Kimbo. Trump, don't cuff that bimbo. This shit just so simple. Vocabulary info. 10 check, Kimbo. Trump, don't cuff that bimbo. This shit just so simple. Vocabulary info. I said 10 check, Kimbo. Trump, don't cuff that bimbo. This shit just so simple. Vocabulary info. 10 check, Kimbo. Trump can't cuff that bimbo. This shit just so simple. Vocabulary info. I could be your bitch favorite rapper. You can choke her, you can slap her, but you still gon' blow me up. Trying to give up that snapper. And damn right, I'm gon' do it. Just toot it up and beat it up. That fresh out the appendix, stupendous. Beat it up, your tips on the floor. My stash on the bed. Just put your tongue ring to you. Some 50s rain on your head. Dubs on the bed, nothing but dubs on the floor. I'm talking about blowing on the dro. Just pick a bud from the bow. I like my money dirty. I like my bitches thick. I like when she throw it back as I serve this vicious dick. He's daddy long legs, long bread. I need that long head. Yeah, you fucking with a winner. Hit it like the song said. I just walked in and I already got her soaking. Wear that blue lingerie and I'm gon' fuck you cause I'm loking, smoking and fucking, hustling and fucking. There go your baby daddy. You know we ain't gonna duck him. It's for the bad bitches on Instagram. Damn, that gotta be jelly. Couldn't be no jam. Damn, ain't nothing like dope money. Yeah, fuck it, I said it. Now cock them legs back. Taste it, spread it. I'm nasty, greedy, lustful and conceited. That's a money-making monster. Now get down there and eat it. Bald head with the tats. Yeah, she like it like that. Color commentator. She know all the niggas stats. I'm a record breaker. A young headboard shaker, cookie baker. Blowing on the finest from Jamaica. Ziggy Marley. Pockets too fat. Chris Farley. California dreaming. I swear that pussy kinda gnarly, man. Hey, say, I'm live on that mic, man. But that ain't my path. Just damn. And I'm even live on the production, obviously. Let me turn that up just a little bit. Y'all see. Say, man, it's about that time, y'all. So, it's gonna be church. So I'm telling you to come as you are, you know. What it was, y'all already know who it is. And y'all tuned in with Priceless Knowledge of Self. And this right here, this ain't shit but another dose of that cosmic insight, y'all. And I ain't even gonna bullshit around because things get murky here. Because this right here, this a little something about those people that have Saturn in the 12th house of their natal chart. And before I even get to that part, you already know what the fuck I'm gonna have to do first. I'm gonna bring y'all a little bit on what Saturn means in astrology and the energy that comes with it. And then I'm gonna bring y'all a little bit on what the 12th house is in the astrological chart. Then after that, it's gonna be the culmination. So let's go ahead and get it cracking, man. So, as I told y'all earlier, and if you don't know by now, you know, Saturn is a motherfucking resident disciplinarian and taskmaster of the zodiac. And it ain't gonna make shit easy at all. At all. And being the ruler of the sign Capricorn in the 10th house of the astrological chart, you know, Saturn is gonna make you put the work in if you ever want to see any tangible results. And, you know, like the priceless message of Jesus Christ himself, you know, if Jupiter is gonna bless you and bring you a fish and feed you for that day, now what Saturn gonna do is he gonna put you through it and teach you to fish so you'll never be hungry again. That's what he's all about. you know. And it also rules the sign of Aquarius in the 11th house to a lesser degree. So with that, you know, it's okay to yearn to conquer the world too, you know. It all ain't bubblegum. And that's real. And, you know, Saturn is all about time and all of its usefulness and its limitations at the same time. And, you know, it rules over old age and the lessons that teaches us. And wherever Saturn shows up in the chart, it shows where we feel the most restricted, where we feel obligations and fears. And the sign placement shows the type of energy connected with our obligations. And the house placement in the natal chart, it's going to show the area of life that we feel the most restricted in, and that we're going to really have to learn to put the work in. And, you know, if we want to get the things that are supposed to be coming to us. And the aspects, they really show the most direct involvement of the areas of life that we feel feelings of responsibility, and, you know, that might be what's holding it down. And lastly, you know, Saturn takes about 28 to 32 years to traverse the whole zodiac and then come back to the place of your birth. And when it does, that time's typically known as your Saturn return. And, you know, those times typically signify, you know, karmic cycles beginning and ending. And they're either going to bring really rough times on, or they're going to be there to ease up some of the restrictions we had, you know. And it's just really because of the work that we ourselves have put in. So it ain't no motherfucking magic with Saturn, and that's just the truth. And a lot of people, you know, they fear Saturn, but pardon me, fucking with that fire. But fearing Saturn was my immaturity, because after I went through that Saturn return, and as I've become to blossom and realize what it really means in my growth and, you know, my spiritual awakening, Saturn is my favorite, because Saturn will put me on point. And they'll put me in a place to win. And then I'm like, damn, it wasn't even Saturn. It was me. And that's what Saturn's trying to teach you. And so when we talk about the 12th house, though, the 12th house is the murky realm of Pisces, and it's ruled by Neptune mostly, but also Jupiter in a way too. And what we find here refers to the unconscious, the hidden, you know, the fantasy, the dreams, you know, the past life, as well as all things that are beyond this physical plane of existence or out of sight. You know, prison should even be the 12th house. You know, the 12th house is really just the things that are hidden away. And, you know, they're there. But where are they? And that's kind of what the 12th house is all about, man. And it can definitely be associated with any periods of confinement and self-undoing. And I also call it the house of karma. And the planets in this house pretty much indicate functions that are hidden from your conscious personality, or are expressed in terms of psychic faculty or self-sacrifice. Yeah. It's a lot. So when we talk about Saturn being in the 12th house, you know, what I'm going to tell you now is that, you know, this one is rough, man. This one is rough. Whether it be for better or for fucking worse, they're always going to have a lot going on under the surface, because more often than not, you know, these people feel lonely inside, and sometimes they feel like a bee stuck up under a motherfucking glass jar, separated from the rest of the world. And what's a trip is, a lot of the times, you know, that very jar that they stuck up under is their own defense system that they done set up themselves, and, you know, they feel confined by it. Because 12th house Saturn folks are extremely sensitive, man. They really are, and they enjoy being on their own, and they need that, which is actually essential to them in order to recharge and reconnect in the motherfucking first place. So in this case, it's murky, as we talked about. They often kind of see the world darker than what the fuck it really is, you know. And you know, it's always really only them that knows how intensely, you know, they let themselves get lost in those phases of melancholy and depression, because the people around them usually don't understand them. I mean, not at all. And I'm thinking about it because it's this placement, man, it's hard, man, because it can bring around a lot of stuff, but it can also make somebody strong in the end. But that's if you're not broken in the first place. Like, this one's rough. And at the same time, it doesn't have to be rough, because just because you built like that, what? But back to the shit, man. We're going to get back to it. But, because the people around them don't understand them, man, it's going to be damn near impossible for them to help them. And, the native is not going to really talk about how they feel about shit or their problems. And so they often kind of just drift off into somewhere in solitude to either work shit out on their own or just be stuck and just wallow in depression and wallow in negativity. And like, we cannot allow that ever to control our lives. Hell no. I'm glad I don't have this placement, y'all. But for all that do, I'm sure I'm gonna get people say, "Hey, I got Saturn in the 12th house, and I'm straight, I'm this, and I'm that." And that's great. You know what I'm saying? All y'all motherfucking Capricorn risings, Saturn in the 12th house, man. Like, you already know. You already know, man. It's and Aquarius rising too. Whatever it brings to you, is what it brings to you. But it can also bring blessings. But you just have to bless yourself and not get stuck in fucking fucked up cycles. And, in astrology, Saturn represents blockages, hardships, challenges. And with this, solidifying effect, it makes it really hard to align itself with the dissolving nature of the 12th house and Neptune's energy, which manifests in a person that just, can't let go and relax whatsoever most of the time, man. And, they often get stuck in the past or in their head without even fucking realizing it. And denial is also another frequent issue with this placement, man. The 12th is also about empathy and, forgiveness, compassion. And Saturn here suggests a strong fucking sense of responsibility. And, what it is they fucking find it so hard to forgive themselves for shit. Like, they just can't get over shit that they fucked up back in the day, and it holds them down. That's a weight. And like, before you can even worry about forgiving anybody else, you got to forgive yourself. Because even if somebody else did some shit to you, you got to realize that in the end, we really only get what we allow. And I can also say that the 12th house is the house of sleeping and dreams. So, Saturn here really can suggest trouble remembering dreams or even insomnia in some cases. And more than anything else, though, I say that it can cause deep depression and mental anguish because it tends to block access to the unconscious mind in the world of imagination. So instead of being able to see all positive avenues when some shit happens, or when some heavy shit just happens to be going down, they sit up in stress. They just sit up in stress, which we know that ain't healthy. In other cases, they experience nightmares all the motherfucking time. And, where their irrational fears kind of come out in their dreams. And it also can represent, this placement can represent having the absence of the father in the life too. And even if he happened to may be available, they still couldn't, feel the protection and the security that they really, kind of needed when they were younger, and it manifested out in this way. The 12th can also represent prison, as I told y'all earlier. So that's definitely a place where the father could be, but not where he definitely is, And moving on from that, 12th house Saturn folks prefer to be the type to hide their vulnerabilities from the world, to the point where they even shut out the people that love them most and would really help them. Because for whatever happened to them as a child, they learned to hide their shit, or they were ashamed of their feelings, especially negative ones, man. Shit that they felt like was gonna bother other people, man. So when things get crucial, they use the strategy to kind of get the fuck away and retreat into themselves. And where they kind of learn to work shit out or not work shit out and just wallow in it. And Saturn is about work too. So they could also work in a prison, on a ship, out in the middle of the ocean because this is the 12th house, or like in a mental ward of a hospital or an asylum, or, you know, a mental hospital of some kind. And, you know, that type of job, and it's just, they need to be off somewhere by themselves, man. And that type of job is really the best and most healthy thing for them. But whatever it is they do, they pretty much best just do it on their own. Because, you know, they take on so much negativity from others that it weighs them down. And I'd really say that the hardest aspect of this placement to me is the way that they're so retentive and get caught up in beating themselves up for shit, man. And I'm talking about shit that happened a long fucking time ago. And they might not remember nothing else in life except the fucked up shit that happened to them with this placement. And that's hard. And they constantly kind of stress over shit they have no fucking power over. And take it from somebody that spent years in prison myself, y'all. That ain't never gonna work for you. And I'm telling y'all now, stop stressing over shit you have no power over. Stop stressing over shit you can't control. It does you no good. That doesn't mean you don't have to take care of your business. I'll take care of my business, but you can't stress over shit you can't control. You can only do what you can do at the end of the fucking day. Okay? And, you know, with them stressing over that shit that they have no power over themselves, you know, they got to learn to get out of that shit before they hurt themselves. They don't like to be overwhelmed with feelings, so they suppress everything that bothers them until it either, you know, dissolves or it destroys. And most of the time, it ain't gonna dissolve. It's only accumulating. And 12th house Saturn, you know, it suggests a hidden source of pain that they suffer from, but, you know, themselves, they can't seem to wrap their head around it. But it's really just their own fears, insecurities, and negative way of thinking that's biting them in their ass, and they feel it. So it's a motherfucker. But the one thing you can't forget is just because you built like that, don't mean you have to build like that, okay? You ain't got to fucking feed into the negativity, man. You can leave that shit alone. We have all this energy available to us in all our chart. We all have every bit of every sign in every house. You know what I'm saying? It's there. But what you do with it is what you do with it, okay? But you ain't got to listen to me. Who the fuck am I? Anyway. That was some priceless knowledge of self, y'all. If y'all fuck with me on any level, I ask y'all to please like, share, and subscribe, please. You know, help me get out there and help the rest of these motherfuckers. If y'all are interested in any astrological readings whatsoever, or any merch, you can either hit me up in the comments below or email me at mr.turner1300@gmail.com. And I'm going to remind you, even though I never have expected any love like that, and I'm just going to keep giving because I love y'all. You want to make some donations, the link is in the description, man. But the channel's still going to keep growing. It is. And I'm sorry if me jamming at the beginning and doing my little rap thing, freestyle thing gets on your nerve, but hey, it puts me in the mood and it just helps me be right, ready, you know, gets me on point, man. So, if you don't like it, fast forward through it. But don't knock me. Hey man, y'all keep it true. I'll be back in a little bit, tomorrow or in a few days, who knows.